Hello and welcome to another episode of the Stogie Review video review. Well, it's Sunday morning, about noon, before the football game starts, so figured I'd sneak in a cigar and record it for you. This morning I'm doing the 5 Vegas Gold. I know that's particularly hard to read, and it actually is a little difficult to read in person too. It's just the gold embossing is a little tough. But let's talk about the characteristics of this cigar. The wrapper's kind of light. It's got some small veins in it, sweet aroma. It's got some soft and hard spots. I wouldn't consider this to be a premium cigar, but then again, it's not bad either. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this guy, but typically I use a punch, so I'm going to show you that. It's a cigar punch. Comes on a keychain like this. Pretty simple. Just slip the punch into the end, give it a little twist. And rotate it a little bit, and we will cut through, make a nice round hole to smoke through. I'm going to take the plunger, push it back through, pop the cap out, and you're good to go. Now, I usually use these punches just because they're handy, not so much because I prefer one method over the other. I just happen to have them on my key ring. It's easier than carrying around my cutter. Let me go ahead and toast the end. And just like before, I'm going to try to get a nice even toast, and then I'll start puffing on it to make sure everything gets lit. Well, as you can see, there's a lot of smoke coming off this cigar, which is typical with this particular cigar. I've had quite a few. Burn to start is a little uneven, but I'm sure that'll even out and it won't be an issue. Draw is really loose, though. It's kind of bitter. But then again, we're talking about the first, quarter inch of the cigar. It's usually it's 50-50 chance. Sometimes they're good, sometimes they're bad. They usually settle out. So I'm going to smoke a little bit more of this one, and I'll get back to you then. Well, welcome back. We're a little bit further along, as you can see. It burns evened up a little bit. It's not, perfectly even, but I think I can deal with that. The smoke, the body, it's pretty mild. It's actually one of the mildest cigars I keep in my humidor, and I usually get them in samplers. I don't try to buy them. I'm just fortunate enough to get them as I order other samplers. Now, it's sort of woody with some nutty tones, but other than that, there's not a whole lot going on. It's very mild. It's good for this time of day. It's early. It's my first cigar, but overall, it's not too bad. The finish, it's a little dry, but then again, we'll see how it goes a little further along. So I'll get back to you then. Well, I'm back, and as you can see, it wasn't away too long. I did want to note that the ash is rather strong. It's kind of a mixture of light with dark bands, but more importantly, I noticed a flavor change. I'm beginning to taste sort of a strong peppery kind of taste. It's overwhelming the initial woody flavors that I got. It's not bad, but it's something I could definitely do without, I think. The draw is still very loose. I prefer some resistance. This doesn't have very much at all. It's still producing a lot of smoke. It's nice and mild. No problems whatsoever so far. So get a little bit further and get back to you again. Well, I'm back. Not much to report in the flavor department. With the exception of that peppery flavor I mentioned before, it's starting to get a little stronger. Finish is still decent. It's a touch dry, but it's not too bad. The burn corrected itself. It's fairly even now. And as you can see, I'm nearing the band. Now, coincidentally, the band on all the 5 Vegas cigars are rather large, with the exception of the Limitada. It's quite a bit smaller, but gotta be honest with you, I can't stand these large bands. But you'll notice it's very large. And even so, on the 5 Vegas Series A, on the Toro size, you see the band is huge, and then again on the smaller size. So it's something that you just have to deal with if you smoke 5 Vegas cigars, unless of course you go with the Limitada, which has the much smaller band. Another thing I wanted to mention is I'm starting to get a bitter, harsh buildup at the end of the cigar, and this is a good time for me to purge the cigar. Now, some people say you should do it, some people say you shouldn't do it. Personally, I do it when the flavor becomes harsh. You do tend to lose some of the better flavors that are developing, but it usually helps wash away that bad flavor. So what I'm going to do is clear off the ash so that I don't blow it all over the keyboard. I'll take my lighter and ignite it in front of the tip and slowly blow out the end. Now, you may see a large flame, you may not. If you do, that's just excess chemicals burning off the cigar. So I'm going to give it a shot and see what happens. Well, as you can see, I did get a fairly large flame there, so there was quite a bit of chemicals there that were building up that hopefully I pushed out the opposite end and burned off. Now, one thing to remember after doing that is let the cigar sit in the ashtray, because you've just heated up the end and you don't want to, quote, hotbox it. So I'm going to let that sit a few minutes, and I'll get back to you then. Well, it's been about a minute. I let the end of the cigar cool down, and we're going to take a puff and see just what that purge did for me. Well, it did just as I wanted it to do. It got rid of that harshness, which is nice, and it also got rid of quite a bit of that peppery flavor. Now, in my case, I didn't care for it, so it's not a big deal. But for someone that does like that peppery flavor, you've effectively just washed away about 50% of it. So it really is a situation where it could help, it could hurt. Just leave it up to your own discretion. Now, once again, you see I am almost burning the band. At this point, some people just will toss this cigar. They don't believe in smoking beyond the band, but if that's the case, you would effectively throw away about half a cigar in the case of the 5 Vegas and the large band. So I'm going to see what I can do about getting this band to pop off so I can keep going. And it wasn't a big deal. Came off, wasn't really stuck. So now I've got about 2, maybe 2¼ inches more cigar to smoke now that that band is off. So I'm going to continue to do so, and be back with you then. Well, I'm back again, and I think it's about time to wrap up this cigar. Now, I typically smoke them much further than this, but it's getting way too harsh, and it's bitter, and I'm just really not enjoying it anymore, so it's really time to put it out. My overall impressions were simply that I wasn't overly impressed. I did think it was a decent cigar, but I really wouldn't run out and buy one from a local shop. If you can find a local shop that has them, they're pretty much Cigars International exclusive. But that particular size, the Robusto, is about $50 a box. If you buy them direct from Cigars International, I'd recommend buying them from Cigar Bid. You can get them much cheaper. So to wrap things up, not overly impressed. It was a decent cigar, but I don't know that I would run out and buy one tomorrow. So I hope you check one out, and maybe you'll have a different opinion. Thanks for watching.